country. I don't know whether it's evening or morning. Good morning, good afternoon. How is your day? I hope you have a great day. So here we are with another presentation. If you have ever read Ivory Bangles, a story that is set in Tanzania by Eric Ngamro, that's the story we are going to talk about. Earlier on, I had done some essays with you from A Silent Song and Other Short Stories. Now, today I'm focusing on that story, Ivory Bangles. Remember, it's a very short one, and we are going to focus on one question. The question reads, personality becomes or turns clear during fate. Illustrate using the story Ivory Bangles by Eric Ngamro. Yeah, so I hope you've read this story, and as a candidate in Kenya, of course, you're expecting a question from either this story or any other. So I'll begin right away. I won't take a lot of your time. Okay, so just sorry for the interruption. So let's proceed with our question. I had told you the question. The question is, personality becomes or turns clear during fate, right? Illustrate using the story Ivory Bangles by Eric Nyamro. So if you miss such a question, of course, I told you can use contextualized understanding of the wording, or you just use the synonyms for the keywords. Now, the keywords in this question are fate and personality. Yeah. So in my answering, listen to the following. The introduction is, it is only during crucial moments that require our presence that we can actually learn the real character of anyone, as proven by the chief's counsel and his wife in the story, Ivory Bangles. It is only during critical moments or adversive times that we can actually learn the real character of a person, as shown by the wife and the chief's counsel in the story, Ivory Bangles. So that is my introduction. It's contextualized. So let's go to the body paragraphs. Of course, we expect 4. So the first body paragraph, and before that, let me appreciate those who have come on board. I can see various people on board. Thank you for coming on board, and thank you for the like. I really appreciate your presence. You don't know what it means for me. All right. So let's go ahead and discuss the first paragraph. The first paragraph reads this. In Ivory Bangles by Eric Nyamro, it is proven that the counselor's wife is scheming and firm. Thank you. I can see 12 people on board. Welcome. Seth Adventure says hello. Hello, how are you? I hope you're fine, and welcome on board. If you've not subscribed to the channel, consider subscribing to it. We have various presentations, sometimes reactions. Sometimes we have discussions that are geared towards life, political, socio-economic. We have an entertainment, and at other times we have educational. Okay, Seth Adventure says he's watching from Kenya. Which exact part of Kenya? All right, so I really appreciate your presence. And of course, currently I'm doing an academic aspect for the candidates because I'm concerned about the performance of English and literature. So today I'm not doing a reaction, but later on I may do a reaction on somebody else. Okay, new subscriber from IVORY County, thank you. We had a very great wedding recently by Prince Ida, Migori County. I like the people from Migori. I traveled once to Migori, and it's a very nice place actually. So I appreciate your presence, Seth Adventures, and welcome on board. All right, so the first paragraph, let's go to it. In Ivory Bangles, Eric Nyamro has proven through the counselor's wife, who is scheming and firm in making decisions during times of crisis. Yeah, so that is a topic sentence that proves the aspect of personality during fate. So let's go and get or gather evidence from the story. So the evidence come as the following. When the chief's counselor has been told by the husband, but she needs to be beaten for her to survive after the seer has informed the husband of that, she plans to go home, cook for her husband and grandson, then go to the brother's place because he had taken over the parents' role. She could then go weeping and complain of having been beaten by her husband without any reason. She would then stay there for a while, and her husband would have to go for her for them to settle the dispute. According to her plan, she would insist that the people reconcile with her husband's people. And once that is settled, she would go back to her home and everything would go as planned. So she cooks her husband's meal, and after that she has just come from market having bought some presents for her husband. She goes to weed, awaiting for her plans. So we can actually see that her true personality of a scheming character who is also firm come out during this moment of crisis when she's the one who is supposed to be beaten by her husband for survival. Paragraph 2. The chief's counselor stands out as a coward in the story at the moments of trouble. Now, I want to give you evidence for that. We actually know the personality of him as a feeble or coward character from the story. Now, where do we get the evidence? The chief's counselor happens to be cowardly when he sees specks of blood on the goat that he had slaughtered at the seer's place, and when the seer's pebbles hint that his wife will die. It is indicated that the spirit is envious of the happy old woman who has never been beaten by her husband. The counselor does not break the news to the wife immediately he comes from the seer's place. He hesitates and broaches the subject only in the night, telling the elderly wife what happened. The wife says that he should share it after a meal, and of course he holds it. After preparation of meal and food is eaten, that's when the husband breaks the news. The wife then is aware of what the seer has indicated, and we clearly see that at this time of trouble, the husband is really cowardly. Paragraph 3. The chief's counselor acts wisely during a crisis, and so he comes out clearly as an intelligent and wise person. Let's get the evidence from the story. The chief's counselor disregards marrying a second wife because of pressure from the aging chief, who indicates that he should marry another wife so that in case of trouble, he has another wife to lean to. We can see him giving a riddle of a woman who went to the river to fetch water with potsherds. You know, she came back home with potsherds instead of water. He expresses how polygamy spoils a home with envy, witchcraft, and conflicts, the lack of peace that is associated to this. When the chief counters him, showing that there is no problem in polygamy because it will offer you options and the pot cannot be broken in a situation of where the chief or the pot is made of iron, the chief clearly refuses it. So it is clear that during such a time, the chief shows his aspect of being an intelligent or rather wise individual. Paragraph 4. The chief's counselor's wife is quite a perceptive and understanding woman during times of trouble. right? So let's look for evidence from the story. Once the counselor's chief's wife hears that the news of the seer are out, and that she can only be saved by being beaten thoroughly by her husband, she understands the situation. The husband wants to share the news he has learned that day, and the wife says that he should do it after the meal. She allows him to enjoy the meal, and she does not really want him to break the news until she is satisfied by his situation. She holds him on his chest and distracts him from the stressful moment on hearing what he has to say. After a romantic moment, she asks him to share the news. And of course, we hear him sharing the news about the seer and what he had indicated. She then dismisses his predictions, indicating that he's envious, and because she rejected him once, he had promised that he would cast, a curse on her. So what are we actually seeing in this? We can see that the wife is being perceptive and understanding, even at times of trouble. Maybe other women would shout around, curse and all that, but she doesn't do that. We see actually the difference in her. Now let's come to the conclusive paragraph. Overall, it's clear that people can be known during times of crisis. Yeah. So you can use a proverb, you can use any other general lesson to conclude your discussion. Now, I just want to tell you, students, when you handle such a question, try to see the practical application. Like if they have told you about perception, or rather personality and trouble, then consider yourself during times of trouble. Maybe there is death. Maybe there is no food. There is no school fees. Yeah. It is a school. Maybe teachers are not there because there is a strike. Yeah. You want to go home, but you don't have fare. How do you handle such a situation? We have people, of course, who will be worried. So anxiety comes out. So those are anxious people during trouble. There are those who will just calm down. So you talk about very calm and understanding. Who will be tensed. Of course, that is the same as anxiety. There are those who will be creative. You come up with solutions during. Don't have money 2 weeks before traveling. Maybe you decide to do, engage a teacher and all that, help the teacher, and then the teacher to get to your home. If there is no fee, maybe you decide to work in people's farms or do something, you can weave some mats, you can cook you can bake and sell whatever to produce the fee. So when such a question is asked, try to apply it to yourself first, then you can go to the story and get the details that are necessary. Yeah, so thank you for those who came on board. Seth Adventure was the only one who came to chat. The rest were coming, sometimes leaving, coming, going, but I like the 3 likes. They are very encouraging. And for those who came on board, I think there were about 20. I'm so appreciative. Subscribe to my channel if you've not subscribed. Thank you for that. Let's meet again in another discussion. Bye-bye.